So this is the factory connector block up under the passenger footwell. I've disconnected it already. And to install this adapter harness, you need to depin about 12 of these wires and pin in new wires. Now you can do it inside the car. However, it's pretty tight in some spots, and I suggest it's easier just to disconnect everything and pull the whole wiring harness out through the fender so you have a lot of room to work. All right, here's what you should have with the adapter harness. The main adapter harness, it's a little jumper wire, it's a coolant temperature sender wire, some heat shrink, and some heat shrink labels for the wires, and also this quick reference sheet. Kind of shows you what to do, especially this part, this important part of the diagram. The main tools you're going to need is a 1mm flathead screwdriver. You can get these on Amazon. I'd actually buy, if you're going to order one, buy two, because these can be kind of brittle and they break occasionally. You're also going to want like a heat gun or some way of shrinking the heat tube. So this reference sheet, if you go by just by numbers, number one, you pull the disconnect everything and pull the harness out of the fender. It's like that. And then you want to find the connectors that are here. And I would label them with a Sharpie so you know where you're working. That's what I'm going to do right now. There they are labeled. And I just got the ones I'm going to work with in this bundle. The rest I just kind of fold it out of the way. And make sure you get these two labeled correctly because they're very similar, just one's a little bit longer than the other one. The way the pins are numbered is where you're looking into the connector just like this on the terminal side with this clip or tab at the top. Starting in the top left, straight across, you just count up. So 1, 2, all the way to 10 here. Then you go back down here, 11, 12. You skip any spaces like this, 14, 15, 16, 18. So it's an 18-pin connector. And if you look at your quick reference down at the diagram at the bottom, you'll find the connector. They all have different pin counts, so you can't really get them mixed up as long as you make sure you got the right pin amount. Now then, on the adapter harness, every one of these loose wires is labeled. See, that one's 258 number 1. So you can just go to the sheet, find 258 right there. It'll tell you, it has a little diagram showing you where the pin is, but also the stock wire color so you can reference, make sure you got the right wire. All we're going to do is we're going to go into this on the OE harness, depin that wire, and insert the new wire from the adapter harness. So I'll just start with this 258 number 1. Go to the reference, find the connector 258 number 1, and I see it should be a black wire, so I go to the OE harness. It's the only 4-pin connector. I've already labeled it. Same all connectors 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 1. I'm going to check the wire color. It is black, so I know that's the right wire. Now there's basically two different types of pins that you need to depin. I'll show you these larger ones right now. On these ones, see right in the middle there, you got to reach in and lift up a little plastic tab, and you'll be able to pull this out. Reach in right there at the top, lift, and pull. Just like that. Now, the reason the kit is supplied with these is, in my opinion, or the way I think people should do it and the way I do it is, when I pull these OE wires out, I put a label on them and a heat shrink over this, and it's kind of like secured out of the way. That way, if you ever need to pull this off for some reason or transfer to another car or whatever, or just go back to stock, you can quickly unpin all these You can, you can basically use the same instructions to figure out and make sure you get this pin back exactly the way it should be. So I'm going to get the wire label that matches the wire I just pulled. And I'm just going to install this label on the wire. I can use a screwdriver if I need to open it up. And then for this, I'll just put the heat shrink over it like that. And I'll leave extra here. So once it's all melted and still hot, I'll just squeeze it like that and it'll seal it all up. That's what it looks like completed. And there's a few more to do on this connector. So once I get them all done, then I'll basically fold them all together. Use like some electrical tape just to secure them. But now that I have 258 number 1 ready to go, I can just insert the new wire from the adapter harness. And you should hear and feel a click and give a good tug, make sure it's in there. And that's basically it. I just need to do that again for all the wires. I already started this on this connector, so I'll just go ahead and do the second wire that goes to it right now. Double checking the wire label, make sure I got the right wire. Very important. So 258 number 2. Once again, look at the sheet. 258 number 2. Should be a green wire with a black stripe. 1, 2. Green wire with black stripe. There it goes. I'll find my wire label. Open it up. Got the heat shrink. With a little bit extra. Now I will just pin this one. Got a click. Passes the tug test. Now I'm going to secure this, or secure these with some electrical tape. I just fold them over, take them out of the way. Now I'm just going to pick, order doesn't really matter, I'm just going to pick another connector and just do all the connectors just like that. All right, here's the other style of pin you have to depin, which is most of them. So this is connector 263. So I'm going to start with 263 number 3. So once again, look at my sheet, 263 number 3. It's a yellow wire with a black stripe. I can see where it is. Tab at the top. 1, 2, 3. Yellow wire, black stripe. So I'm going to gently pull on the wire. And on these terminals, the locking tab is at the bottom, so just below this part right in there. I reach in, push it down while I pull the wire. Yep, just like that. Reach in, push down, comes right out. So I'm going to label this wire, heat shrink it, and insert the new wire. There it is. I'm doing multiple wires in this connector, so I'll just leave it out of the way for now. Double check I got the right wire. And then double check I'm going to insert it into the right spot once again, because there are empty cavities in here. You don't want to get it in the wrong one. 1, 2, 3. You know, hear and feel the click. Do the tug test. There it is. Right, once it's all pinned, you got the extra secured, it can go back in the car. One thing I will note is if you're adding the AC harness, this wire needs to be run all the way to the front of the car going through here. So before you put this in, it'd be a good idea to put this through the boot so it's easy to get this installed. And we're going to leave these kind of loose before you install in the car, because you may need to kind of move them, change around their order to get them all plugged in cleanly in there. So I'll leave that part till it's inside the car. Here's a new temperature sender wire. Just has the bullet connector at one, and then this pins right into that connector. So I just got to run it from there through the harness and then wrap it all up just like that. It's kind of secured it along the length. I added extra length just in case. And the wire just runs into there and down into there. And I just reused the loom, the split loom there, just new wrap. And the boot gets installed right at the end of the split loom. And the way I like to do is I start wrapping here, wrap down, then wrap back up, and then to end it, I add a zip tie, and that stops it from unraveling, keeps it sealed. Here, all of it is pulled through. I just got to reconnect all these to the connector block up here. One thing I forgot to explain is one of these wires says C259 number 9, C260 number 15, and it's an either or, depending on your chassis wiring. It's either going to be in this connector on position number 9, or here on number 15. On this car, it's an 88. So you've got a yellow wire on number 15. So that's the 12-volt source for the reverse switch. So I'll depin that and put this one in there. In other years, it may be on this connector number 9. Same wire color though, yellow. Here it is all secured. I just reused this zip tie thing that's built into the factory connector block. Just kind of tuck the extra wire out. On the original ECU connectors, you can just tuck these out of the way. Because this thing is getting my AC conversion, there's plenty of room up here. So I'm just going to tuck them up here. Right, this connector, you just pull the fan timer unit that normally is bolted here. You plug this into its connector. Now if you have the AC adapter, you just plug the gray connector from the engine adapter harness into that. And the next thing to do is this ground. This is the ground for the main relay. I'm going to put it here, but before I bolt it down, I'm going to take a razor or something and scrape down the bare metal right around where this is going to touch, basically. There it is installed. I scraped as much paint as I could away with the razor, then used a little bit of sandpaper to get the rest. And before I installed it, I used some of this on the exposed metal. It's not necessarily required because this is an interior, but I like to use this stuff just in case, stop any corrosion. As for these connectors, this is just your OBD2 connector. You can run it up into the glove box or leave it up here above the ECU plate, wherever you want basically. This one is for the wideband O2 sensor, the one that comes on the O2 to 04 RSX. And so it's tempting to run this through the same grommet as the engine harness, but if you do that, then if you ever want to take the engine harness out, you're going to have to undo that whole grommet and pull this back out because this is permanently attached in here. So that's the reason it comes with this grommet. So you'll add another hole down here. Just pop this through, and it's right near your O2 sensor. All right, for the O2 sensor wire, you're going to cut a 1.25 inch hole right there with the hole saw, just like up there. So just go by this and go up a little bit. And you're going to feed it through. You're going to hook it up to your O2 sensor, then pull it back. You still want some slack on the other side, but most of it should be in here. And just put like a zip tie like right there on the wire so it doesn't slip back out. And the wire comes with its own grommet already on it, but I like to always back it up with some silicone once it's all installed, just to stop any possible leaks. Here's the O2 setup from below. Put a P-clip here and kind of double the wire over. Left a little bit of slack here. And this is pretty much a semi-permanent install. You shouldn't ever really need to remove it unless you're going to pull the adapter harness off the car. Alright, now we need to pin 3 wires into the C101 connector. The first one is the water temperature center wire, which you should have already run through the engine harness. The next one is the B9 to C101 jumper wire. And the last one is the C101 to B10 splice wire. To get these pins in this connector here, you need to remove these locking blocks on each side. Take your 1mm screwdriver and just pry up over here on both sides. It should pop up. That, and just lift it out. So the coolant temperature center wire goes into position number 5. Just count from the side again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. The C101 to B10 splice wire with the exposed end, that's going to go in position number 3. 1, 2, 3. And it should be empty, but on some harnesses it may have a white wire with a blue stripe. If you do have a wire there like with that color, then you don't need to install this, just toss it. But everyone else, most people, you're going to have to pin it right in here, position number 3. So just pop it in, a little tug. The last wire we're going to pin into the bottom row, so we can just reinstall this top lock right now. Set this out of the way. Now on this particular connector, this bottom lock is broke, so it's going to look a little weird once it comes off, but it's still holding the pins in, so it's no problem. But it just pops out the same way as the top. Alright, now the C101 to B9 jumper wire, the side with the big pin goes into position number 19. So just count. 19. Like that. They're all in there secure. Just put the lock back on. Now we're going to install the B9 jumper wire into the ECU connector B. Unlike all the other connectors so far, these aren't numbered from the pin side, they're actually numbered from the wire side. So we're going to count to 9. Got the tab at the top. 9. Blue wire, black stripe. Now to unpin these wires, there's a lock-in block on the bottom of the connector. You got to pry it up. So it pops up just like that. Then you reach in from the front, These are a little bit harder because the opening's smaller, but it's the same idea as everything else. Reach in, lift the locking tab, just pull it out. Now this one could go in its place. That, give it a tug. Alright, the final wire is the B10 to C101 splice wire. You need to splice it into B10, the white wire, the blue stripe right next to the one we just pinned. This is for the charge warning light in the cluster. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to remove some of this insulation and use one of these to splice it in to that wire, and then cover it with some heat shrink, and it'll look real good. Won't be so bulky. It does require crimp tools though. Alright, there's the crimps. Very secure like that. The final step is just to put some heat shrink on it, shrink it, and just put this, repin it in the connector. Just in case you don't have any crimp tools, I decided to include one of these with the harness. It'll allow you to splice that wire real easy. You just put the two wires in, and push this down with some pliers, and it'll bridge them. So if you imagine this is the wire coming out of the ECU connector, just pop it through the side here, in either position really. Then the wire you're going to splice, you just put that in far enough to go past this, not all the way out. And once you're sure they're separated, like this, so look kind of like that. You come in, push that down, some pliers, you pop that over. Should be secure, and you'll know that it was successful because when you turn the key on, you'll get the battery light that comes on. Just gonna pin it back in. And then final step is just push this locking block back. There it is, kind of secured, so it looks clean. Now you can plug everything in. I'm going to take the adapter harness, plug this in, ECU, and plug in all the connectors. And we're going to be hooking this up to the laptop next, so we'll plug this in too. Once you get it all connected on KManager, you're going to change a bunch of settings in the parameters for your calibration. And I'm not going to cover that in this video. All that info is going to be in the PDF, the install instructions PDF. I have screenshots of everything you got to do. And once you've made those changes and you've uploaded the calibration to the ECU, it should be ready to start.